Hello, welcome back to another segment in excerpts from A Spiritual Ascension. So, when I was doing a lot of research and doing my metaphysics studies, I came across so many different things. And I was starting to put together some of my courses. Um, Even when I was doing my yoga certification, I became, really heavily influenced by um, Hindu teachings, Buddhism, sorry about that. And I grew up also in a Christian household. So I have a lot of different understandings about the religions of the world. The thing is, sometimes I wonder why I was put into the religion, why I chose, right, before I came to Earth, and for this lifetime, why I chose to have this experience in that religion. But it kind of was a basis for understanding Christianity, right? Um, and then once I really wanted to understand so much more about world religion and studying metaphysics, I kind of broadened my horizons. Never um, not wanting to not accept anything. I think even for yourself, it's a thing of reading everything and then seeing what relates to you and what makes sense. Okay. So for this particular one, as you probably know already, I've done several courses for Udemy on the ascension process. And I had gone back and kind of revisited one of them, and I noticed I had done a segment in my course on the four truths. I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes here. But um, the four truths come from a Buddhist teaching of the truth of suffering. And when I started doing a lot of research about the dark night of the soul and then reading about these four truths, I'm like, oh my God, it's like so similar because there's also four aspects of the dark night of the soul. So the first of these four noble truths is, forgive me because I'm going to totally mess up, is called dukkha. It's the truth of suffering, the belief that we are here to suffer, right? If we go back to Christianity, it's that we were perfect in the beginning, right? Adam and Eve. And because of sin, we became imperfect. So that's the reason for our suffering, right? And then the second one is samud daya. Totally sorry. And it's the truth of the origin of suffering. So, what is that truth? Where did the suffering really start? That it's, all of history of man has been in some form of suffering, right? Of killings, um, of plagues, of natural catastrophes, always humans in some kind of suffering, right? And then the next one is Narada, which is the truth of the end of suffering. And then MAGA is number four, the of the path to the end of suffering. So in my course, I thought this worked so well with the dark night of the soul, right? Because when initial dark night of the soul first comes on, we kind of realize that all of our life we've been going through, our soul kind of wakes up and says, knock, knock, it's time for you to wake up, right? Um, all of our lives we've been going through some kind of suffering, whether it's through our family. Um, we are, I always tell, my clients when I speak to them, I said, we've been brought up to with the influence of our parents, right? We go to school, we have the influence of our classmates. We grow up, we're supposed to go to college, get married, have kids, buy that house, save for retirement. And then they say, is that really what this life is supposed to be really about? And along the way, there's always this sense of suffering in some way, no matter how rich you are, or poor, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be some kind of suffering. But to understand that that doesn't have to be so. With the last one, MAGA, the truth of the path to the end of suffering, that path is your ascension journey. Okay. That's the path that you're taking at this point. Um, the main thing about this too is that we believe that we're here to suffer because most of us believe that we are separate from the divine. Everyone in the world kind of has that thought um, that there had to be a savior, a mediator between us and God. Um, Not understanding that we are one with God. And once we understand that and have that awakening process, go through those dark night of the souls and start on our path to that recovery from suffering. Once we reach the other side, we understand that we don't have to suffer, right? That the divine is only going to bring in goodness for us. Um, Sorry about that. Okay, yes. Also understanding too, there was a point that I had made in my course that once we awaken, right, our soul not wakes us up, knock, knock, it's time to wake up. Once we wake up, knowing that an awakened mind is always available to us. And most people don't know that, right? People go through their day-to-day life. Think of too, if you are, if you're resonating with this, think of yourself a year ago, whenever you had your first awakening, 10 years ago, whatever the time may be, and compare your thinking now to your thinking of before you awakened and understood that there's something more to this life than this suffering. Okay. As you go further along your ascension process, you're going to understand that more and more and more. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, I can't believe that for all this time, I thought that this was all that life was supposed to be for me to endure in this way. And like I say, get married, have children, save for retirement, and grow old. I'm going to do another video on that as far as growing old, because when you recognize within yourself that you are so divinely attached to the divine, that you are a part of the divine, you're going to notice too when you come across other people who have ascended, I should say, okay? Because that's a whole nother video. People who claim to be spiritual but are not on the proper path. Um, when you see them, you're going to see how much younger they look compared to others. Okay. Um, yeah, I think I said kind of went through everything, all the points that I wanted to make in this video. But just letting you know that it's not only you recognizing or others recognizing that, you watch the news, you see what's going on, that there's this and that, and just chaos all the time. But there is an end to this. Okay. And that end is going through your ascension process. Okay. Going on that journey. And that journey is hard. Yes, it is extremely hard. But the thing is, you're getting rid of that old thinking along the way and letting go of all the ways that people made you think that you had to be, getting rid of the ego that you built up, right? Because a lot of times our ego is built from us wanting to have validation from other people. So that subsides too, because now that you recognize that you're one with the divine, there's no need for that ego. Okay, you're whole within yourself. You know, there's what do you call it? Your self-worth is so much more in line with who you truly are. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. If you would like to take my course, there's a link in the description box. Also, if you would like to spend any time with me, have a reading, there's also a link there to book time with me. Okay. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.